you want to go ahead and get started, can ask you just to provide a brief summary of your current role and primary responsibilities at your current job.
Okay. My current role is at Tennis Channel, and my title is Executive Director of Technical Operations and Media Systems. My day-to-day responsibilities include overseeing and managing our engineering department, our broadcast operations center, and our media management department. So kind of just setting the tone, ensuring that all tasks are being fulfilled, that all the administration work is being done in terms of the needs of the personnel and staff, and then guiding and leading the direction of say like the engineers are being gotten the information they need as to what ongoing projects might be, what big projects are coming up, and things of that nature. So I kind of work very closely with our production department to make sure that they're getting the proper support they need. So it's really kind of I oversee the operations department, and it's really kind of a matter of understanding and creating a helpful environment, because the operations department is a service industry. We service the needs of our client, our internal client, which is production, to make sure that all of our editing equipment, all of our production control rooms, and all the infrastructure is running smoothly and up to date and appropriately maintained to keep the product on the air, which is 24/7
Yeah,
tennis.
absolutely. And especially an increasing digital age where everything is just online. That's constantly how people are consuming information. Especially the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit how, COVID altered your job responsibilities a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that I would say was catapulted forward because of the pandemic was remote production, which essentially means that we're producing something, we're producing a show, producing a sporting event without being there.
Yeah.
So it's our producers, our directors, our TDs, our editors will be either at home or just at our facility in Santa Monica while we are producing, the Monte Carlo Open.
Yeah. It's
And so it's not that wasn't going to happen, because there are many ways in which that is a more sustainable
Mhm.
model. And so the industry was going to get there,
Yeah.
uh, but the pandemic just accelerated that and made it happen a lot sooner than I think a lot of people anticipated.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say are some key lessons that you've learned from working in the sports industry?
I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed, one of the biggest takeaways, is that what we're doing is telling stories. And what I really realized, one of the biggest lessons I've learned, is how important that is to people.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Just the value of it. So that's just a sport, and I agree with that. They are just sports. They're games. It's just we pay a lot of money to watch really really athletic people play games. We do, um, but it means so much to a lot of people, and the power of storytelling is really very alive and well in sports. And it's just such a valuable thing when people are going through a hard time, or, they just need a break, need an outlet from their daily life. Sports is a great escape, a great diversion, a great thing that we can offer to to help people, to lift people up, to give them hope, to encourage them, to inspire them. And so it's really to approach. So I really like that approach to sports and sports production, to have that in mind. So almost in a way to hold the reins loosely. So you have the reins and you're guiding the ship, and it's really important. But also at the same time to have the understanding that it is just a sport. We're not curing cancer, but it does have an incredible amount of value.
Absolutely. Going off that kind of, what would you say are a couple highlights, maybe memories, that you would attribute to your sports career so far?
Well, some of the biggest like moments, some of the things have been testing myself. So this happened um, maybe like 12 years ago. I was editing at the Miami Open, the Miami Tennis Open, and uh, I was supposed to cut together the opening segment of the show. So my producer would go out into the field with the talent and the camera crew, and they would shoot it, then they would run it back to me, and I would have about an hour to put it all together. And so I was sitting there, I was waiting. We only had 45 minutes left, then 30 minutes left. We finally only had 15 minutes left before the producer ran back into the room and had the content. So what I usually did in an hour, I only had 15 minutes to do. And so it was one of those moments where it's like, well, there's no time to think. You just have to act. And it's like it was a big test of myself. And I learned a lot from it, because I did it. I got it done. I got it on air, and everything was fine. And, I gained a lot of confidence in myself, by being able to take care of that, to operate in a stressful situation, and, make it happen.
What would you say, like, are the, two or three the most important skills to have as someone being an aspiring sports professional? What would you say those are?
I think it's really important to spend some time fairly regularly looking at the bigger picture. So if that's either in your personal career, in the sport you've chosen, or in the portion of the industry that you've chosen to be in, it's really important to always take time to look at the bigger picture, look at trends, look at what is successful or is not successful, and to always have an understanding of that. And then I would also say that, a lot of it is just investment, good old fashioned hard work, to really, really and truly apply yourself to a skill. I think will help immeasurably.
What would you say, when you were first coming out of college or first trying to get into the industry, was there a particular piece of advice that somebody gave to you that you think would be helpful, that you've really, held on to, that you've applied, heavily into your career?
Yeah, I think it would basically be don't sweat the sweat. It would basically be don't sweat the small stuff. So again, in that concept of keeping your eye on the bigger picture, losing a job, a project getting canceled, having to move on in any myriad of ways is not the end of the world, and is not ultimately not not that big of a deal. So it's really important to not have too high an estimation of yourself, you know, and to always be humble, and just be a hard worker.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I
Mm-hmm.
think that about covers, what we wanted to talk about. So yeah,
Okay.
I appreciate you again taking the time out of your day to talk to me and help me learn a little bit more about how to get immersed into the industry for sure.